Hello and good morning. Joe Justice here, coming to you live on December 6th, 2022. We are one day closer to Christmas and well into the holiday season. I hope everybody is having a joyous and wonderful time, making some plans, getting ready to meet with family. We have got every weekend until Christmas booked up, so we've got something happening all the time. I wanted to come in and talk to you guys today about habits. I really want to kind of break down what habits are, how they operate, how they work. Habits are your best friend and your worst enemy. They are your secret superpower and your arch villain. Habits are your greatest asset and your greatest challenge. Overcoming them is incredibly difficult, but establishing them, once they're established, it can be the difference between success and failure. So why is that? Why is it that habits are such a challenge? Why is it that they cause so much terrible detrimental effects on us? Well, first of all, let's break down and understand what a habit is. Habits are neither good nor bad. Habits are kind of just your brain's way and your body. So let's think about it this way. Habits are in your body. Habits are your body's way of maintaining stasis. So habits are in your body, and it's your body's way of maintaining stasis. What you did yesterday that kept you alive, your body will continue to do today to keep you alive. Assuming that you didn't have pain and assuming that you didn't have detrimental effects immediately. So your brain, the way that you think, the you that is you, that thinks about long-term things, that's you. And then your habits are your day-to-day activities that your body engages in to stay alive. Your body doesn't think about the future. Your body doesn't think about long-term effects. Your body doesn't plan ahead. Now you do, but not your body. And that's a really good way to think about your habits. So when it comes to habits, the reason that they're difficult to overcome is because they're so deeply embedded in you that you don't even think about them. Literally, that's the way that they're designed to operate. Did doing this yesterday keep you alive? Did you stay alive yesterday? Yes. So let's keep on doing it today. And that's kind of a shadow self. That's kind of a second self that just kind of operates through the world. The thing that you have to realize is the world is unbelievably complicated. Everything that you experience is what you actually experience, remember, think about, operate in, is a minuscule little sliver of reality. If you go outside, just think about walking down the street. Everything that's involved in walking down the street, you've got traffic, you've got other human beings, you've got the ground, the hardness of the ground, your whole body operating and moving forward. There's all kinds of peril that exists at all times. You've got sounds coming from every direction. You've got lights, you've got signals, you've got all of these things operating. And your brain just distills all of that down so that you only manage a little micro fraction of that. And you can think about that like when you're driving, and everybody's experienced that time when they're driving and you're looking at the lines on the road going by, and as those lines on the road go by, all of a sudden, 10, 15 minutes pass and you don't even remember it because you're kind of in this hypnotic state. That's your habits. That's just a habit. You've reduced everything. You've reduced everything down to a small little decision-based process. So you don't have to make big decisions all the time. If you had to contend with all of the complexity of reality, if everything was new If every time you saw a giant Mack truck coming down the road and you had to decide whether or not you had to jump out of the way or stay in front of it, you would have, you'd go insane. You can't handle that level of detail. So what your body does is minimize everything down and make everything as small as possible to microscopic decisions, and then you start identifying those decisions and then adjust them accordingly. So what you're dealing with is 90% of your behavior is actually habit. You just don't realize it. On a high level, the habits that you engage in that are detrimental in the long term, because on a high level you understand the long term challenges and the long term implications, you start to identify those negative habits and you start to make those connections. Oh, if I eat this type of food, then I'm gaining weight, I'm not feeling well. And a lot of that stuff too is stuff that's going on inside your body that you don't even notice on a macro level. You notice, like, you eat certain foods, and now what actually happens is you get like insulin spikes and it makes you feel sluggish and you get like a sugar rush and then you feel bad later on, or maybe it upsets your stomach because it's a type of food that doesn't agree with you or something like that. But you don't perceive that connection because it's not immediate. So over time, your brain starts to pick that kind of stuff up and starts to identify those things. And then you might identify those as bad habits. Take like smoking as a great example. I smoked today and I survived. So your brain begins to associate smoking with stasis. Again, it's all about stasis. Your brain's not trying, your body with habits is not trying to make you live to be 80. Okay? Your habits are making sure you don't die right now. That's what your habits are doing. That's what your habits are doing in your body. So you need to reframe your habits. And that's what your higher executive functions do. That's what your ability to think into the future does. It gives you that opportunity to adjust those habits. And how do you do that? Now, that's the difficult part. So the biggest thing that you have to understand when it comes to habits is they're always triggered. Something triggers it because your brain, your body and your brain at that low level associate certain behaviors with stasis, with survival, with making it through. So you could, for example, start out as something very simple. Let's say you have a stressful day at work. So this is a really common type of habit that gets built up. You have a lot of stress. So you come home, you sit in your easy chair, you crack open a beer, you drink your beer, and you feel better. It reduces that stress. Now that's good for you, right? Now that's good for you because the reduction of stress helps you live longer because it reduces serotonin and all that kind of stuff. So stress long term hurts your body. Let's just leave it at that. So reducing the stress. So your body measures that. Sitting in this chair, drinking this beer, this is good for me. So the next day you come home and you sit in that chair and you crack open another beer. Great. No problem. But having a six-pack of beer every single day is not good for you. But your body doesn't know that. It just knows that your stress is being reduced, and that's great. Now you start to pick up on this stuff. You start to realize, oh man, I'm getting fat. I'm not healthy. I'm not able to do the things that I want to do. I can't play with my kids because I'm always buzzed by 6 o'clock. I can't go to anything. I can't go to any events or anything. So you say, well, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm not going to drink anymore after I come home. Well, and then as soon as you come home, you sit in your chair, and then you get these intense cravings, and you can't white knuckle it. The next thing you know, you're not even thinking about it, and you've got a beer in your hand and you're drinking it. That's a habit. And that habit was triggered by coming home and sitting in that chair. And really, the easiest thing that you can do to eliminate a habit like that is to remove that trigger. If you literally threw that chair away, that could be enough to eliminate that trigger, and those cravings for beer would go away. That's exactly what I talk about when I tell people they need to create an ideal and they need to do the smallest step towards that ideal. The ideal is the long-range executive functioning, the ability to think into the future, to think about the perfect version of you, to think about the ideal version of you, the version of you that is successful and does everything that you want to do, everything that you wish you could do today. That's the ideal. And then the smallest step is all about doing something small towards that ideal consistently to change the habits that you have right now so that your body understands that you're still surviving and you're creating a new stasis. All right, I hope you guys found that helpful, and I hope that helps you understand habits a little bit better. You guys have a great Tuesday, and I will talk to you tomorrow.